Hi, I'm Liz and welcome back to my channel, Creating Inner Beauty. I'm an intuitive energy healer, reader, and coach, and I'm bringing you a video today of a deck unboxing of a tarot deck that I literally just purchased from Barnes & Noble. I was in there browsing through various books and I love going into the tarot section, of course. And this deck really just caught my eye. And it's funny because I have this whole list of decks that I would like to get. And for whatever reason, I keep being guided to ones that are not yet on my radar, really. And so I felt pretty compelled to purchase this one. So I'm excited to dive into it and see what it has to offer. Now, this is called the Insight Tarot, and it's by Stanislav Reshetnikov. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. And it is a tarot deck that is very inspired by Jungian depth psychology. So I thought that was really interesting and very much up my alley. My training is actually as a psychologist, and I'm a big fan of Jung, so I'm excited to see what this deck has to offer. It comes in a pretty nice size box. And it says a tarot deck providing a pathway to clear divination messages, meditation, and psychological practices. And I love how it's kind of combining all things that I love personally. This is what the back looks like. It is a 79 card deck, and it is by Red Feather, I believe, publishing. Now, this is the first time that I'm seeing this deck, really, except for the images on the back. So we're going to experience this together. It has a nice sturdy box, flips open, magnetic closure. This is the inside of the box, pretty sturdy. The guidebook. It's a nice finished guidebook, pretty thick. A little description on the back. It's described as an original tarot deck highlighting the practical insight of depth psychology, which examines the unconscious, exploring dreams and archetypes, and looks deeply at the self, shadow, heavenly fool, inner child, and other important aspects of humanity. So I'm excited about that. And looks like it's about 176 pages. And yep, full color images. Looks like a little summary of the major arcana, so that's nice. Table of contents. Okay, I'm going to set the book to the side for now, and we'll come back to that at the end and get into the cards. So this is how they're in the box. Oh, they're nicely gold gilded, shiny. Oh, these are the backs. I really like the backs, actually. Very like simple, geometric, but a beautiful color. They have this plastic on them. Let's see if I can take that off. Very good. Just set the box to the side. Okay. It is a pretty thick deck. The cards are somewhat glossy. They're not super shiny, but there is definitely a gloss on them. They're not completely matte, but fairly thick but bendable. They're not stiff or anything, so that's interesting. Okay, let's just flip through them quickly, and then we'll take a look at the guidebook. So the Fool, just bursting out, blossoming from this flower. I love that idea, and I love the expression on his face. Has a good Fool energy. And these cards, as you can see, are definitely bordered. And I don't have super strong opinions about borders or not. Kind of depends on the deck and the artwork. I've seen some decks that I much prefer borderless, but right now this is striking me as okay. Now there does seem to be a little bit of damage here at the bottom of the card. I think that might be because of how it was in the box. I'm not too upset about that. I'm not super picky about this, and it says a mass market deck. So it was relatively affordable. Yeah. The Magician. I like how it's kind of an ambiguous figure, but the figure has the world in the palm of it, their hands, and some of the more traditional symbols also there. So we can sort of see that tarot symbolism, but interpreted in a new way. And I feel like it really does convey the message in the Magician card that you have all of the tools, you know, the world, you have inside of you what you need in order to create what you want in the world, to manifest it. So I think that that's pretty on point for that card. The High Priestess. I like the blues. I like that she looks sort of like she's going inward and tuning in. I would say this is not my favorite High Priestess card, but I do think it's kind of interesting. Looks like these figures are deep in thought. It looks like one is male and female. So that's kind of interesting too, to think about the balance of that. Divine masculine, divine feminine. Interesting. Now I really like this Empress card. This figure, this face kind of looking out from this very like fertile scene of flowers. And I really like lilies are one of my favorite flowers, so I like seeing that. And this also has kind of like a fae energy to me, which is nice. It feels really creative. The Emperor. This looks like a Star Trek uniform to me, which I actually love because I'm a big Star Trek fan, but that's kind of funny. It's interesting, sort of like this elemental energy, but in this cube, in this like very specific structure. Yeah, I think when you reflect on that, you really get the energy of the Emperor as, you know, connected to the world, but also providing structure in the world, taking all those elemental building blocks and putting them into a foundational form. So that's very interesting. The Hierophant is teacher. His figure looks like he's struggling with his studies, his learning. I like my Hierophant cards to be perhaps a little less traditional in terms of the kind of teacher. And this looks very like bishopy, I guess. But I definitely think it does get the point of the Hierophant across. The Lovers. Interesting. It's kind of this like open space where his heart is. And I guess these are all of the things that sort of fill it. The Chariot. Definitely get the sense of forward motion. Sort of the classical two horses and the light and the dark. And it's kind of interesting because the horses look like they're just barely going in the same direction. Like one could veer off this way and one could veer off that way, which I think is a message in the Chariot, that it's not only about forward motion, it's also about making a choice and going in a particular direction. And if you don't, and you kind of, your energy is split, you have the possibility of sort of veering off the course. Justice. This figure's kind of playing chess here. They're both sort of holding swords at the bottom. I don't know what I think about this card. I have to sit with that for a little while longer. This kind of feels like this clock. It feels like sort of a representation of perhaps like divine timing or things playing out, finding that justice over time. But the idea of this chessboard and strategy, it's not exactly how I interpret the Justice card right away, but I don't hate it. The Hermit, oh, I really like the Hermit card. This idea, like this sort of like darkly robed figure, but then inside he's going on this journey. I think that's really perfect. And the journey is toward this like beautiful sun, this enlightenment. I like this card a lot. Wheel of Fortune. Interesting. To me, this is kind of about like the spiral of healing. And sometimes we kind of go round and round on the same issue, but we're approaching it from higher and higher levels and new ways of considering things and healing and moving forward. And it looks like some of these figures are kind of barely holding on, and some of them are making progress on their journey. Very appropriate, I think. Ooh, Strength. Oh, I like this card a lot. This female figure, that feminine energy represented, but the strength is inside of her, and it's at her sacral chakra, and that definitely resonates with me. To me, this also has a very Sekhmet energy with the lion at her sacral chakra. You know, expression, assertiveness, creativity, sacral and solar plexus. I like that. Ooh, the Hanged Man. It's definitely a very Christian-inspired image. I would say it's maybe not my favorite. I like to look at the Hanged Man mostly as a pause or a change in perspective, or even a sign of, you know, having patience about something and things just taking time to unfold. And this feels a little intense to me. Death. Interesting. We have the baby and the older figure. It kind of feels like it's talking about cycles, life cycles. Kind of gray and dark though. Temperance. We have the 2 cups, finding the balance. I like the yellow energy and the blue energy kind of swirling together here. It's a pretty card. Feels a little bit angelic. The Devil. I like the Puppet Master. And all of the figures on strings. And interesting, we have this one figure sort of watching it occur. I guess maybe even thinking about it as gaining insight into, you know, how we are both can be the puppets and sometimes the puppet masters, and are those the roles that we really want. Interesting. The Tower. Yeah, that definitely feels like a tower moment, standing in the middle of a tornado, kind of seeing everything break apart. But interesting. So he was actually in a cage And then the tornado is breaking apart this cage. I like that symbolism a lot, because sometimes it can feel, pretty scary, but once the tower moment has passed, sometimes we're much freer than we were before. So I like that. The star. Oh, interesting. It has like a ship in the sky, kind of sailing away to where? I don't know. I feel like this feels like a reference to some sort of like Peter Pan type of imagery. The moon. Now this definitely feels like it's alluding to the unconscious and taking a look at our shadow and fears we have and what's in there. So it kind of pulls out to me some of the more shadow aspects of the moon card. And the sun. Definitely a lot of confidence, illumination, happiness, love, judgment. I like the beautiful wings. Resurrection. It's interesting. That's the only card that has a like sort of a subtitle to it that I can see. So I guess that was a very specific, intentional feeling that the creator must have wanted to focus on. The world. I like this card with the female figure dancing, the infinity symbol, the astrological signs around completion of cycles. And then here's that extra white card, which I believe is supposed to be similar to the Fool in energy. It is about like the potential of creation. Okay, now we're going to get into the minors, and I'm going to go a little faster through these. So just kind of take a look at them. The Ace of Wands, Two of Wands, Three of Wands. These feel a little bit more pippish, like there's less going on in the scenery, but still definitely some things to trigger the intuition. Sort of this like very fertile growth here in this Four of Wands, Five of Wands, Six of Wands, Seven, Eight, pretty classical looking Eight of Wands, 9, 10, like carrying all the burden and baggage. Interesting. Ace of Cups, Two of Cups, Three of Cups, Four of Cups, Five of Cups, 6, like in the Seven of Cups, it kind of gives us the idea that this is more in the ether than it is in the real world. Eight of Cups, the candle is extinguished. 9 of Cups, 10 of Cups, getting into the Swords. Now I do like the color changes. That the Cups was blue and very watery and emotional. The Wands was sort of a reddish orange. That definitely lines up for me. Two of Swords, Three of Swords, 5 of Swords, Eight of Swords, sort of like the tied up in the rope, 9 of Swords, they're kind of bloody, as if someone's been walking on the swords. Looks like a staircase to me. 10 of Swords. And then we have Pentacles. Ace of Pentacles. 2, 3, 4, 'Balanced, giving and receiving. 7 of Pentacles starting to sprout here. 8 of Pentacles. I think this is like the little stamp that creates them. So creating the masterpiece, the Pentacles. 9 of Pentacles. 10 of Pentacles. Oh, okay. So here are all the court cards all together. Page of Wands, Page of Cups, Page of Swords, Page of Pentacles, Knight of Wands, Knight of Cups, Knight of Swords, Knight of Pentacles. I guess the different outfits and the way they are acting in relation to their steeds is pretty telling. Queen of Wands. Oh, I like her. She looks fun. Queen of Cups. Very warm and nurturing. Queen of Swords. Yeah, she definitely looks Queen of Swordsy. Queen of Pentacles. King of Wands. King of Cups. King of Swords, King of Pentacles. Okay, so that is the whole deck. I was intrigued by the majors. I kind of wish the minors had a little bit more to them, but I definitely feel like they got across the major messages that I usually perceive in those cards by their illustrations. Now, let's just take a quick shuffle. I usually shuffle hand over hand. It won't be really fully shuffled, but just to get an example card and look at the guidebook. Okay, just cut here. Look at 6 of Pentacles. Okay. Now, so it looks like we have, as I said, the full color images for each card, and we're looking for 6 of Pentacles. Here we go. Looks like we get a full page for each card. Harmony between to give and to take. So it looks like it gives a little description of what the 6 of Pentacles represents. And then a brief description of the upright position and the reverse position. So 6 of Pentacles represents the principle of providing and receiving resources. This is a new skill in the cycle of the suit development, not just to produce and accumulate something tangible, as it was on 3 and 4 of Pentacles, but rather to invest it, to provide and receive thanks to social interactions, and not direct labor efforts. Here, the relations of fair and harmonious exchange become a resource, just like social capital, which makes the suit deeper and more powerful. And then it goes on from there. Interesting. So the upright position is described as inflow of a material resource, readiness to share its excess to achieve fair balance, appearance of a benefactor, understanding feelings and needs of other people, openness, honesty, generosity, and a satisfying, sustainable decision. In the reverse position, this would be disharmonious exchange, a shortfall on what is due, unfair distribution, a resource that needs to be begged for, unpleasant dependency on other person's resource, rejection of help, sunk debts, overdue credits, egoism, ignoring of the necessities of a partner. One has all the dues and the other all the rights. So interesting. I feel like that was a pretty, good overview of the way I view that card. And then just jumping over to the majors a little bit. I think there's a little bit more in the majors. We have the first full page that goes into the meaning of the cards a little bit more. And what the symbolism in the drawing is. And then on the second page, we have the upright positions and reverse position meanings. Okay, so that is the Insight Tarot. I hope you enjoyed this little unboxing and deck walkthrough, and I would look forward to seeing you in the next video.